Welcome back for another episode of Jet Fuel in the Morning. This is season 2, episode 8, and I'm your host, Lindsey and I'm with my lovely co-host, Rachel.
Yep, with fascination.
And today, our topic is really appropriate, especially as I come to you in my very authentic state of worn out mommy. Definitely don't look professional, freezing for a Floridian because it's way too cold.
Oh my God.
And
It's been so cold.
I know my feet are freezing. I cannot get them warm. But our topic today is dealing with burnout. And Rachel and I are probably the experts on that because we have to do it daily just to avoid.
Well, we wear so many hats, and we have to be moms, and we're running multiple businesses, and there's a lot of people that are depending on us. So it's like you have to do what you're doing. You can't not do it. It's required.
Exactly.
So, and like, who's going to clean the house? Who's going to do the laundry? What about all the extracurricular activities? It just never ends.
And then let's not forget, what's for dinner, Mom?
Oh my God. And you're like, oh, dinner. Oh, I guess it's Uber Eats again tonight.
Right.
Okay, it's not that. But, I've been trying to plan more. That was like my goals. My health is my goal for 2025 to really cut back on this burnout, which I doubt that's going to happen because between Scott and I's schedules, we're just
slammed.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of the whole thing, in this fast-paced world, and especially aviation, it's like you have to stand out. You have to go the extra mile. You have to be
over the top.
Exactly.
Yeah, in people's faces all the time. Otherwise, the next new thing is coming. Aviation's so quick.
Exactly. And that's why we tend to take on more than, we can chew and just keep going for it. And I struggled all through the holidays too. I mean, I don't know about you, but
the holidays were horrible. I'm in the definition of burnout. Like, it kicked my beep. Like, I'm like speechless. I'm like, what happened to Christmas? And like, normally I take pictures with like my Polaroid camera I got when I was 9. I totally forgot. Like, I just forgot a lot of the like things because we're just running all around like maniacs. And then now it's January, and my birthday's this week, so I'm getting old, so I'm wearing my glasses.
Oh, please, getting old. You're still younger than me, so hold on to that.
Yeah, we're working on that. I'm trying. Everyone's like, oh, you never age. I'm like, bullshit. I see the wrinkles.
Right? I know. It's so funny. Every time I go to the store with Aubrey and I'm actually done up and I look like I have my life together, and people are like, oh my God, that's your daughter? I thought you guys were sisters. And I always look at Aubrey and I'm like, your mama still got it.
My mom and I used to get that all the time. Like, my mom lost a bunch of weight too. And then it was just like, everyone's like, whoa. I'm like, yeah.
Exactly. So. Which is another added pressure, right? Especially for females, is let's keep up with our appearances too, on top of everything else.
There was that meme where everyone's like, everything's like all crazy and their hair's all nuts, and they have trying to keep up with their health and exercise and the house and business and like work and do all this stuff and Pinterest stuff, and it's just not possible. I feel that women, like, I read a statistic somewhere. It was an article about how women are more likely to have burnout because they actually take on more of the roles. Even when you have a partner, we just naturally do it. And so there's also this big stigma of trying to be perfect. And especially with social media, like, you see all these people and and I do it. And like, we're chameleons. Like, we try to really show the positive and good things, but sometimes we need to be real because the social media and the society has required us to be up here. Mm-hmm. When most of the time we're all running down here. We're lucky we're even there.
Mm-hmm. I actually made a post on LinkedIn. I think it was New Year's Day. And I basically said that. I was like, I love seeing everyone's successes and wins, and I love it. But can we please catch a break here? When is everyone
going to failures?
Right. When are we going to be real? I'm struggling. I feel like it was everything I could to like get out of bed, dealing with all these things that are going on emotionally and in life. And
Another thing is we have like we both have things that had happened during Christmas break, and it adds to our mental state. And I have like some stuff coming up that is very stressful. And it really takes a toll on our bodies and our minds. Um, I told Scott to be quiet, and he just shows up in my truck and just totally gas. I'm sure you can hear that.
no,
You can
I
hear my
don't think
truck.
I did. I don't know.
I'm like, really? And he's gonna come in ridiculous. I know this. So we don't talk about those things. We don't talk about all the stress. The mental health is what is hard, especially when we get, for some reason, like wintertime, I think it's harder because of like the atmosphere. I mean, Florida, it's sunny out, but it's like in the 40s, but it's sunny out. It's different.
It
Like
is. And
in
it
up
gets dark,
north, it's dark. Yeah.
right? Like I'm that kind of person where like in the summer I feel like I come alive because you have the daylight there to keep you going, but in wintertime it's
Oh,
like 5 p.m. and I
done.
feel like it's midnight and I'm ready to just go to bed.
Yeah.
Hi
I'm,
Scott in the background.
I know. He like is trying to be quiet. You are not quiet. I could totally hear you.
Los Santo.
So, it is a real thing that we all have to deal with. And I feel like when you don't address it, that's when you'll just let it fester. You start to get even angry, or it leads to resentment or bitterness. And, you know, it just festers, like I said. And
Yeah.
it's like important that we talk about these things and we talk about like coping mechanisms. How do we deal with it? Rachel, like, what is one thing you do to help deal with it?
So I have an example. I was trying to update my logbook because, I went through a bunch of stuff and I just like didn't fly because of burnout and because I was just dealing with like lawyers and just all those things. Like you just don't have room. And even though flying really makes me really happy, it was so stressful. And I had so much anxiety just getting back in the airplane that I couldn't do it. And I looked at how many hours I flew in like 22 and 23, and it was like 6 hours. And it's so sad. And I like had this horrible like meltdown. I was like crying, and Scott's like, it's okay. We're going to fly more. Everything's going to be fine, you know? And it really takes someone to like I reach out to my very close group of people because when I get really stressed out or burnout, I go silent. Like I go silent and I just like focus on like working and trying to get ahead and get above it or get ahead of it. Number one thing that I will say recently, and I think that everyone should take this, is saying no. I am starting to say no a lot. Like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't think I have time to do that. And like, Scott and I both talk about how like we are like yes people and we want to do it all and we want to be everything for everyone. And what we realize is we can't. And
Mhm.
what's most important is being yes to ourselves and yes to our like immediate family, like our children and like my parents. They're close by. So it's like very important that I'm helping them because they help me. So saying no and trying to exercise, at least going for a walk. And I try to get into books. I like to read a lot. And so I try to like put myself in a different situation, especially if it's something in like I'm a history fan. So I like 15th, 16th, 17th century novels. And so I really get into that stuff, put myself into another world.
Yeah, those are good techniques, especially the saying no. I'm a culprit of that as well. I just want to take on everything, and I feel like I've had moments over the last couple weeks where like serious breakdowns, if you will, where I took on, my son's dog while he was out of town. He has a giant German Shepherd. I had my dog,
He's
my
so sweet,
daughter.
but so funny.
Oh my gosh, but the hair everywhere. It was like I just had to vacuum like daily, and I'm allergic anyway. So I'm just a mess all the time. And then, Aubrey and her friends, and she always wants to do things and have people over, and then your family pressures. And I was like in the kitchen one night and I just like, I
You're
have
like, I
to do
gotta take that to
and just like it's like one of those moments where you just break and you lose it. And it's important to, I think, let yourself have those moments too, like a little temper tantrum, if you will, get it all out in a healthy way, not on someone, and just let yourself feel it. And then that is a
That's
recalibration.
really hard because I don't cry. Everyone tells me I'm like cold-hearted and very Capricorn.
Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very like black soul and but I do have my moments. Did I tell you how I ran over? I was burnt out and it was like right before the holidays and I was in a rush trying to get the kids to school and get everyone and I think I was going out of town like the next day too. Like I was just losing my mind. Yeah, it was like I think it was the week before ICAST or right when I got back and it was gonna be Thanksgiving or it was Thanksgiving. I don't know. Anyway, uh, did I tell you I ran over like all my water pipes and my well pump and everything for
No.
the third time?
Oh my gosh.
Third time. And there goes my water to my house, like a freaking geyser in my yard.
Oh,
For the third time I've ran into this. Like the first time I ripped it out with a hose that got caught between my tires because it's like knobby tires. And then the next one I think I ripped it out again, and this one I just ran everything over. Like I ran it all over. My backup camera wasn't working, and it gets caught in the tailgate, and I put it in reverse and I ran everything over. I'm like, and I got out and I was like, oh, like I lost it, and like
did
Daniel
you
came
actually
over to help.
cry?
I did cry, but it was worse when Daniel came because I was just like, I'm just trying to make it all happen, and I went into the ugly crying where you're
Um,
like, really
like,
sad.
what was that comedian where you're like, I did my best?
Yes, I was like trying to say words and words weren't happening. And I had to like run to the front of the property to go turn the water off because it was literally spewing out of the yard. And Baron's just like, Mommy, look at the fountain. I'm like, it's not a fountain, Bubs.
Right? You're like, that's the money from my checking account. Well, at least you have a
Oh
well.
my God, I know. I had to buy a whole new pump. And
Oh,
like,
God.
thankfully, I had another spot I could hook up the water to, and we just capped it off and it was fine. Thankfully, I didn't have to rebuild it for a second time. But the fact that I ran into it I messed it up for a third time in the same year, about year and a half. In less than 2 years, I did it three times. That is a problem. Like, I need to slow down and I need to quit trying to do all these things. And I'm trying to get like ahead of the game. So I'm not like that. I don't know.
And that, that is
It happens.
the whole thing too, is yeah, you denigrate your quality of performance at when you're so burnt out. And what you don't realize is by taking on so much because you want to appease everyone, they're only getting a third of what they would have received had you said no or put it off till another time.
Where
And
you could really focus on it and do a good job. And like, that's when I'm like, all right, I got to stop because I am not doing a good job at work. I'm not doing a good job at home. I'm not doing a good job with my relationships.
Mhm.
Like you realize you start like I start nitpicking at other people, like at Scott or like even employees. Like I can be in a bad mood when because I am burnt out and everyone's asking me all these questions, and I'm like, leave me alone. Like go away. Like
Mhm.
when I get home and like I'm overstimulated, which happens a lot. And Baron just wants to lay on top of me. And then Ryder's like, you want to play a game? I'm like, no, I don't want to play a game,
Yeah.
actually.
I want to sit here and let my brain turn to
No one touched
sweet
me.
mush. Yeah,
And I don't want to watch Bluey and watch Planes 2 for the 10th time this
right.
week.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it is key. So what you were saying no, really what it is it's a prioritization of yourself and your needs and
Yeah.
not feeling guilty about it. That's the key.
That is the worst. Like, I feel guilty. Like, if I go take a bath, which I am like everyone who knows me, I am bubble bath queen. I am in the bathtub like 5 days a week. Like, it is where water and like the kids are in bed and I can read and like I feel guilty because I feel that I should be on in my bed on my computer doing listings, writing back people that I didn't get to. It's and then the mom guilt really sets in and you're like, "Oh my God, like are my kids going to hate me because I didn't get to spend like more time with them this evening and mama's just tired."
Yeah, I mean, my kids are older, but I battle with that too, Sometimes I'll just lock myself in my room and lay in my bed. I call my bed my safe place. It's like nothing can touch me there, nothing can harm me there, nothing can, impact my emotional well-being. So I'll lay there and I'll just watch some mindless show on TV. And then I
Yeah.
realized, my kids are doing their own thing, and then I wrestle with
And
the
they are at that age. Like Ryder's at 13 and he's getting at that age. And another thing is that like not everyone can do this, but like I going to go to the airport and like it's always like with my dad and now it's like with Scott. Like it's funny. They always say that you're with like someone who's like your father or whatever, it's so Scott. Like I enjoy tinkering on something and you sit there and you just like you just are like complaining or bitching about stuff and you're just like working on an airplane or fixing something and you're just like, you know what, this is stupid, blah blah blah, and I didn't like it when this happened. And it's more of like we're not trying to fix it but we're releasing that angst or that anger, and then I feel so much better like
Mhm,
working on something and like really talking and with it like either with a girlfriend or dad or Scott. It's that time
mhm,
fixing it.
mhm.
Sometimes I have to have that recharging where it's silence and I'm like watching a mindless show or mindlessly going through TikTok or reading a book.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what you have to do to recharge. And I think everyone should take that, especially going to the airport to just go do something. But if you're too upset, like you shouldn't be working on an airplane.
Right.
Um, but that's something that I also really enjoy doing.
That's, another thing I would say, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what you were saying. Yeah, release the negative, like allow yourself to have that, get it
Yeah.
out of your body, but then replace it with gratitude. So, like, I consciously try to find things that I'm thankful for when I get
Oh,
in that mood.
horrible at that.
I know, but I've realized, so this little anecdote story from my life. When I was a flight attendant, I got to the point of such burnout, and I just like loathed my job. Like, I mean, got to the point of like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I wasn't in a position to make a change in my profession yet. So I just had to suck it up. And I realized that I was becoming one of those bitter, angsty flight attendants that I always said I would never be. And
Mm.
I had to take a pause. And what I decided to do was rather than focus on myself, I was going to find one passenger every flight that walked on that looked like they were having a terrible day. And my goal was to make them smile some way.
Wow.
And so by taking the focus off of myself, and focusing it on giving something back and giving something positive to someone else, it in turn helped my attitude. And then I started to find joy in my job again because I was making someone else feel good about themselves or have a better day or laugh with me about something. And that's such a easy technique, and we can do it in our everyday lives, and it makes the world a better place, but also that's what opens up the positivity to enter into your life, is when you
Yeah.
shift your perception.
And it's hard because I like to retract. I like to go hide under a rock. I don't like to interact with people. And I say I hate people like every day. Like there's always a thing. I'm like, really? Like the audacity, or like, really? You really like people just blow my mind.
Yeah.
Well, they don't blow my mind. I expect it, but it's just like, damn, you know? And so sometimes it's really hard for me to like go out of my way to do that. I find that I do that a lot more at work or with people that are closer to me, but strangers are hard for me because I don't trust no one. And so I try to do it. I do find myself doing it with my kids. Like I'll sit down and play with them, or like they are the most simplistic creatures, especially like when they're really young.
Hmm.
We should probably like channel more of our 4 year olds energy, be like stubborn and go get her and just be super happy to play with. whale sharks.
Or sticks, right? Or the
Like the
box,
or rocks.
the toy.
They love rocks.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, it's ridiculous, but you're right. And and even still though, it doesn't have to be a stranger. I mean, the people that matter the most are the people in your circle. So giving the positive energy to them is not like a failure. That's still a huge um,
Yeah.
accomplishment. It's just
Yeah.
it's really the act of turning it outward, and letting that positive energy kind of flow through you, and in turn, like I believe for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction, and so you get back what you actually are emitting, and
Yeah.
we don't do that very often. And I think it really does help with burnout because it shifts your whole perception of your reality, and it snowballs from
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it makes you look at it at things in a different perspective, and especially when you put your feet in another person's shoe, you know, it really like helps you really put your life and what you're dealing with in perspective.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing though too is really evaluating your situation and evaluating your life, and knowing when to say enough is enough and make a change. And then once you've figured that out, that there's a huge change that needs to occur, being brave enough to see it through, because we are creatures of habit, and we get
Mm.
complacent, and sometimes the fear of the unknown keeps us in our complacency and keeps us in this same cycle, the spin cycle of the freaking laundry wash, the washing machine. And we just keep going around and around. And then we wonder, why we feel so
Well,
sad.
we're on the ride. We're on this ride and we cannot, I always say it's this roller coaster and you can't get off it. So like when New Year's happened this year, like sometimes I try to think about resolutions and stuff like that. But then I don't know, I just had this like crazy feeling like the last 3 to 5 years of my life have been just a total change.
Hmm.
But now I really feel that I have to make a huge transition and a bigger change with intention than I ever have. Like I have to really look at like what I'm doing with my business, and I have to look at my kids and like where we are and like where we want to be um, in our future, because it's really important for me to grow.
Hmm.
Um, like I feel like I just passed a season, and I know that I'm going into a new season. There's this app and it's called The Pattern, and I some people are in astrology and some people aren't, and this sort of is about astrology but also like the universe and just kind of like how like the world is with it's you could take it with any grain of salt, any your opinion or whatever, but it's really cool because it shows you the patterns of like life and like what's going on with you and like with your sign or with like the moons and things. And I really like I believe in God, and like, I'm not here to talk about religion or anything, but I also believe that there's higher powers and there's energy and there's a universe. And this app actually really helps um, me like actually like focus on, oh, there's like a change happening. There's going to be a new pattern. There's a new
Hmm.
thing. And even if it's not true, it still helps us sit there and read
Ponder
it
it.
and like ponder and really think about it. And you're like,
Hmm.
you know what? You're right. I've been like really unhappy with how this has been happening. Like I'm
Hmm.
having more returns than I normally have. So what do we need to do to have less returns and happier customers?
Hmm.
Or my kids are being super clingy right now. Maybe they need more time with me. So I need to designate more time to really be in the now and focus on that.
Hmm. Absolutely. I always am one to make New Year's resolutions. I didn't make any this year except for one.
I
And
normally write it all down like a whole thing, and I didn't do it this year
I,
because of burnout, because
yeah,
I just don't even have the energy to do it.
and that's my one resolution was to show up authentically in everything unapologetically. And because I
But
found
you are.
that was another thing, I would have to, I would chameleon myself, I'd fit in to, pass the time, or to be more effective at this, or and I just, I thought, man, we have enough of those people. I am me for a reason. I mean, good, bad, and indifferent. And the bad I'll work on, but I am who I am. And to show up authentically and not be apologetic about it is the best thing that I can do for the world. And it's the best thing I can do for my own well being as well. And
Yeah.
so that was it for me. And I said, that is all I'm going to focus on this year. And, you know, we're only day 8 in, but
I say that I like act like the 65-year-old grumpy old man that really wants to retire, but he can't till he's 67. So he just like doesn't give a hoot,
yeah.
and just comes in and is himself. And like I tend to channel that more now, basically because I was like forced to do things I didn't want to do. And I went outside my boundaries, extreme boundaries, and like all that. And I just won't do it anymore. There's something inside of me that broke and I just don't care anymore. And I'm going to be myself. And if you're not okay with it, then that's fine. You can go and do you, because I'm going to continue doing what I feel is best. I'm going to be a good person,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be taken advantage of, and I'm going to move forward with my best foot, because I know myself so much more than I have ever known myself. We're
And
always growing,
yeah, I
trying to
know.
be
And
better at
that's huge though. I mean, a
what
lot of people say like that they didn't even reach that till they, reached their 50s. So I feel like maybe we're above, ahead of the curve. I don't know.
maybe we just gone through too much and we're just like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I think it is definitely the latter. I think we've just been, we've had life kick the shit out of us. And so now we're just like, all right, enough.
And I
And
just don't care anymore.
yeah, exactly.
I care, but I don't care to be fake. I don't care to be a certain way. And if I don't want to be around someone or around something or go do something
Hmm.
that's not like required for me, or I have to do it because it's my kids or like my family, like there are things we have to do and it's gonna
Right,
suck.
right.
But if I have the choice that I don't have to do it, I ain't doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go away.
Exactly.
Do something
Exactly.
else.
I think really,
So say
all
no.
yeah, saying no. I think the last thing too to me was creativity, creating a creative outlet, because from creativity is where everything grows. And
And you always said that you're not like a super artsy, creative type of person. You're more analytical.
mhm.
I find myself more of a creative person. I loved art. I went to school for art. My dad's like, "There's no money in art. You need to do something with money," you know. And I'm like, "Yes, there is."
Right,
I sell airplane parts for art. Got one right
right.
there.
Hey,
So that is good. You're doing something that's kind of like outside your scope to really grow. And I always say that I grow when I go outside my box and I'm uncomfortable, like making that phone call. Like, oh, I wish I could do that. I don't sit there. I try not to sit there and do that anymore. I'm like, I'm going to go and try that. And if I fail, I fail. And at least I know I can say I tried it.
exactly. Well, I know
Even
you've
if
got a
it,
busy day ahead of you, and I know you're like, I got 30 minutes, girl. So I'm gonna
I
respect.
know. I was like, I got 30 minutes. I got a million things I'm going, and I'm going out of country, and it's going
For
to
your
be awesome.
birthday. Yay.
Yeah, for my birthday. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And
Excited. I used to not be excited for my birthdays, and now I am.
yeah, good. Well, you've got a partner that's making it special. So I can't wait to see all the pictures. Post them all
I
constantly.
know. I'm bringing my good camera. I'm like castles.
I know. It's going to be
All
awesome.
right, cool.
Well, enjoy safe flight. And we will do this again, hopefully in a week or so. And yeah, until next time, blue skies and tailwinds.
I don't remember what my spy. I don't even remember. Over and out. I
Bye.
don't know what it was. I don't even remember what I said.
That's okay.
Like,
That was perfect.
nothing insane.